the Sena. The 20s is the one that I'm using. There's actually a number of different communication systems available. It was originally made for motorcycles, and for skydivers, it's amazing. Now, many of you have already seen the Talking Skydives episodes that I've been releasing from flights that I've done all over the world in my canopy flight courses. And of course, I continue to do those courses, but I wanted to spread the word about this thing. I had several people say, you know, what's involved in installing it, how much does it cost? Hey, you're going to spend somewhere in the $400 range, the low 400s. I never thought I'd do one of these unboxing videos, but here I am. I've already taken a lot of this stuff out of here, but I wanted to just kind of show you how much stuff comes with this thing. You've got all kinds of different charging options. Excuse me. You also have a number of mounting options, and that's what I wanted to talk to you about. The Sena has two primary ways of mounting. So if you want it on the back of your helmet, I've chosen to go with this. We'll talk about the pros and cons. Or if you want to go on the side of the helmet, it's really easy to install either way. It works in an open face or a closed face helmet. The only thing about an open face helmet is, of course, after you are done with your free fall and you open your canopy, this is going to be pointed up, right? So you're going to have to move the microphone down to your mouth every time. No big deal. Under canopy, I think it's been working fine. I've mounted these on frap hats. Right? So basically, we'll start with the mounting system that we've got set up with the solid boom mic, which is real sturdy. I mean, this is a beefy metal thing, very, very flexible. And basically all you need to install, can you see here, there's a bracket with two Allen screws, and you need one of these. It comes with it. Don't lose it. Probably a good idea if you're like me, where you're changing them out. You know, I've got tons of friends all over the world that I want to fly with, so I just stick this on their helmet for them. I use the boom mic for them, and you just have to screw it in. But if you lose this, you're in trouble. So get a few of these puppies. Excuse me. You have to kind of think about, you know, what it's clamping to, right? So some of the helmets, you know, you potentially could do a little bit of damage. Just make sure you open up that caliper wide enough when you screw it on, and make sure it's really secure. These things can get lost, and I know that they have. The disadvantage of the side mount method is that your riser can come right past it and knock it off on opening. And so maybe some gaffer's tape. If you gaffer's tape the heck out of it, though, you won't have access to the buttons. Now, we're going to get to the functionality using the buttons. It's really not very complicated, and there's an instruction manual. You're going to spend the rest of your life looking at all the details of how you can use this. You can make phone calls under canopy. You can listen to the radio. You can link up to 9 of these units and talk to 9 of your friends, which is, you start thinking about, wow, there's a lot of possibilities here. So basically, what you need to know is that when you clip the thing on, you got to size up where the antenna sits. You tighten up your Allen bolts, and then you insert the earpieces. Now, it's got 2 sides to it. Whoops. So this is the side that should not face you. That faces the helmet. This faces your ear. Really important. You're not going to hear squat if you don't. This goes obviously up over the top of the helmet. Hide your cables. I mean, I know a little bit hanging out. People go, ah, what's the big deal? But if it gets snagged, at the very least, it's going to break your continuity. And, you know, you've got no earpiece on that side. Who knows what could happen beyond that? So be smart about it. Tuck everything away. Use a little bit of gaffer's tape. That stuff is magical. It doesn't leave much of a residue. It's not very expensive. And, you know, you just tape it up, you don't have to worry. Now I do want to point out one thing, is that I've got 2 different Senas that I use. This is the original one, the Sena 20s. It's got an antenna. You got to have the antenna up. It's not going to work. You won't have nearly the range without that antenna up. I mean, like, it's not going to work for our purposes. But it's kind of a flimsy antenna. So this one here, the antenna is built in. This is the EVO. or the 20s EVO. That's the one I'm going to recommend for skydivers. I am using this. It is okay. I just, I got it before the EVO came out, and that's the disadvantage of being the first one out. I know they've got a 30S as well. I haven't tried it yet, so maybe some of you will be able to give me some feedback about that unit. So the reason why I chose the back mount is because I don't want the riser shaving off on mine, and it's going to be permanently mounted for me. The way I'm able to get the microphone set up, I've got it inside my Cookie G3, which is obviously tricked out with a lot of different things, including a cutaway system for the camera. This is from Colette Tech. Awesome mount. Love it. Keep the helmet, lose the camera. It's way better. I need my helmet, especially now that I've got an expensive radio system on here, right? I also have an audible altimeter. So, not to mention, I would like to protect my head. So, if there is the unlikely event of a line getting wrapped on there, that makes sense. So the way these are mounted, and the beauty of the G3 is the padding is Velcroed in. So I'll pull this out so you can kind of see what I've done here. You've got a boom that comes with it, and that just stickies on, just like your GoPro tape. It sticks onto the helmet on the inside, and it's an extended wire that anchors into the base piece here. And it does the job. I'm really happy with it. I have not noticed a significant difference in the audio quality of one mic versus the other. It's just that if you're going to be slapping them on a friend's helmet temporarily, you need the boom mic. It's just what you're going to have to deal with. No problems there. So as far as turning them on and basic functionality, if you get the dual, you're already connected. So both of the radios that it comes with for $400, $420 or something, they're already linked up. Not a problem. You can link more if you choose to. It's pretty easy. The owner's manual, just a hot tip here, there's this whole flow chart of if you want to do this and you want to change that and sync this or whatever, or reset it to the factory setting, make a copy. It's just, you got to have it on the drop zone. You're constantly messing with these things to, linking and unlinking with other people. Make copies of your quick reference guide. Hot tip there. Charging port is on the bottom of the unit, so it's got a little rubber cover. That's clever. It's protected. The radio has a jog dial, which is your volume, right? Volume up, volume down, clockwise is up. Easy enough. Now this jog dial is also a button, and so that is how we link in and unlink with the other radios. So if you're permanently paired, if you will, to another radio, it doesn't mean you can talk to them the whole time. You got to click, and then you can hear. If you bump this on your riser or in the airplane, like I do, I'll like sort of meditate, take a nap or whatever. You lean on the wall of the airplane and you can't talk. So you click it again. Not a problem. It takes about 2 seconds or so, and there you're talking again. I do radio checks before leaving the aircraft. I turn them on before I board. The battery on these things is awesome. It'll go all day long. You don't have to worry about that. You should shut it down in between jumps, but you can talk on the way up, and you'd be amazed how much you can talk about in the plane that's going to help the skydive go well. People always say, is the battery a problem? I'd say no. Now you've got another button on the back here, and so to turn the unit on, you push both the big jog dial and the little one at the same time. You push and hold. You got to wait. See the blue? Hello. And then you hear hello in this kind of sexy voice. So you're on. But to make a connection with another radio, you got to do the same thing. You turn that one on, and you both click, and boom, you're talking. Easy. In the aircraft, it's a little bit harder to hear just because the airplane intercom failed. Right? She spoke to me because she's saying, I didn't make connection to the other radio that it's paired with because it's off. Right? So it's communicating. That's nice. I'm going to shut it down right now. Goodbye. That's easy. So again, it's this button and this button. Now, hot tip. This thing down here, it's what I call the expensive button. So if you push this one by accident, you got no radio. So you might want to tape that one up. that's what I do on my own. I just run some gaffer's tape across there and cover the thing up. Now, keep in mind that this mount is solid, right? So although I can eject this, I can't eject this. So there's a safety concern here, and I have not found a perfect way around it. I'm going to sort of leave it to our hive mind to come up with some better solutions for a box, possibly, or something like that, that's going to make this kind of lower profile, snag proof kind of thing. Maybe Cookie will come up with something brilliant. Jason always does. Maybe Nick, right? Somebody. So this is something that we have to deal with. Now, if your slider is behind your head, the one in the back can snag it. So keep that in mind. So if your slider's back there, consider the possibility that either, if you anchor it with a sky tie or something like that, a magnet on your rig, it's sort of down and out of the way, probably not a problem, unless you had to cut away, right? I mean, just because it's unlikely doesn't mean it's not possible. So just consider that. I remove my slider, right? So it's gone. So I don't have snag proof. In the event of a cutaway, it's definitely not going to hook up. But, that's something you should think about. The other things that I've noticed about them is that the communication is a little bit of a variable. There's times where it's good, sometimes it's bad, but I would say 9 times out of 10, it's clear as a bell. I'm not really sure what contributes to them not working well, but I find that if they say it sounds a little scratchy, we just turn off the radios, turn them back on. Maybe there's a better solution as well. I'm sure guys that work at motorcycle shops that know more about the Sena than I do, but I'm in love with it. And here's another add-on that I think you'll find is really cool. People are like, what's up with your GoPro? It looks like it's got a lens on it. No, this is just a different box for standard. This is a GoPro Hero 3. And you go, wow, you ghetto son of a gun. Well, one of the reasons why I don't have like a Hero 9 or whatever's come out now is because I got a Sena GP10 backpack. Now the GP10 communicates through Bluetooth, and of course the radios work on Bluetooth anyway, but this allows my radio to talk to my GoPro. That's how I create the talking Skydives. You got a bridge that goes in between the two, which also allows you to plug in your power to the GP10, and it charges both your camera and the GP10 at the same time. Don't need 2 cables. Awesome. But it also allows the two to talk. So this way I can I just turn the thing on, it syncs up with my radio, I'm good to go. See right now it's red, so it's blinking red, so it's not communicating. I'm going to turn on my radio, and it's going to change to blue because they're talking. So I'm now recording, if I hit record on this camera, I'd be recording through that microphone to here. If I want the ambient noise also, and I don't use this, but you can, on this side, there's off and on for whether you use the actual microphone, which from what I understand is on the GP10 rather than the GoPro. You've got a good mic for ambient noise if that's what you prefer, not just the mic noise, just a thought, but I've chosen to keep mine off for that. It doesn't always work. Make sure before you exit the aircraft that you check that you got a blue flashing light, not a red one. You might have to turn it off and then back on. It's possible. Maybe it gets tired. Maybe the battery gets tired. Maybe it times out. I'm still trying to figure that out. One of the other things that I've discovered about camera device connected, so I'm going to turn this stuff down, is that because of the proximity of the mic to the wind, it's possible, according to the guys that I talked to at tech support, that on exit, and particularly I spot, right? So I'm the spotter on most of the loads that I'm on, almost all of them. And I stick my head out of the plane because it's the only way to do a good job of spotting. I'm working on a new video about spotting that's going to be on Adventure Wisdom. I think you'll love it. The mic can get maxed out, right? So if the levels go to 11, so to speak, it's possible that that's what's causing the audio to go out. So one of the possibilities, and this is also the solution to wind noise for a free fall, tape up your vent on your G3. Just throw a tape over there. Maybe roll back the end of it a little bit so you have a handle, and then you peel it off if you're dealing with fogging after opening. You just peel the thing off. Or, of course, you can always open up your visor a little bit. But this, the proximity of this microphone to the vent has seemed to be posing a problem. So you could always put the mic up here. You can hear it just fine. But experiment with that as well. So I think it's a wonderful device. I'm super happy with the Sena. Shout out to Sprinkles, my buddy, who was the one that hooked me up with our first set and then our second set, and we're going to get more for the course. So I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled. The unit is described on my website. If you go to adventurewisdom.com, there is an article that describes it and shows more pictures and things like that. And the link on there goes to an Amazon page, which is through our Prime. And so basically what that means is that you're going to get the best price that I've found. And Amazon gives me a cut. It doesn't raise your price, but Amazon does give me a little bit of a cut. And I got kids to feed, so maybe you would want to do your link through that and then purchase through that link. I'd appreciate that very much. So be aware of what's going on. We're going to make another video about air awareness as you're flying these things. We had a really interesting moment this weekend that you're definitely going to go, what? I'll be making that video next. But in the meantime, be safe. Keep communicating, even if you don't have a radio. Stay aware and survive. I'm Brian Germain, and thank you for joining.